It is Wednesday, February 12th. Now we're on the right sides of the screen. I got to get Cyrus his own graphic in the big graphic opening because it ain't just a Damon Brew show. Oh, no, it is Warriors Weekly. That's my brother Cyrus Satsis right there. And Cyrus.
That's my brother Damon Bruce right there. Welcome, everybody.
We got a pulse. We got something to talk about. There is some life being breathed back into this Warriors season, and I think that both of us were hesitant about Jimmy Butler through 8 quarters, through 2 games. We are off to a great start with Jimmy Butler, and if you're a Warriors fan, there's a reason to lean in again. Okay, here we go. You ready for Warrior 2.0 to wrap up a season where 1.0 did not really work well?
1.0 sucked.
It did. It did. And look, and I don't know where 2.0 goes. I don't think it goes past the second round, but give me watchable. Give me something that's got some substance to it. And again, a win over the Chicago Bulls, I don't know what that means. Probably not much. A win over the Milwaukee Bucks with Middleton just traded and Giannis not in uniform, I don't know what that means. But there are some things that I like. Starting with this, Cyrus, for the first time in the Steve Kerr era, there's a player who knows where the free throw line is and how to get there. And that, I think, is just invaluable.
There's nothing to add to that. Bravo. Yes, 100% with you. I mean, look, until Jimmy Butler got signed, Jonathan Kuminga led the Warriors in free throw attempts. That includes the Andrew Wiggins era. Wiggins was competent at doing that, but it wasn't consistent, which I think represented the entire issue with Andrew Wiggins. You did not know which version you were going to get on a night-by-night basis. That is a concern if you want to be a serious team in the NBA. Jimmy Butler is 6th in the NBA over the last 10 years in free throw attempts per game. That list represents all the greats. Yes, James Harden is on it, Joel Embiid is on it, and Jimmy Butler is on it. Those are free points. That helps your defense tremendously. Grossly underrated aspect of those free throw attempts. Even if Jimmy Butler is getting 15 attempts and only making half, wouldn't be a good look. But you're setting your defense up for an offense that is not burning you with transition, with fast breaks. You're giving your defense a chance to set up every time you have free throw attempts. It is a subtle yet vitally important aspect of success in the NBA, and Jimmy Butler bringing that, among many things, Damon, is a huge plus.
It's buying just a little bit of chance to put your hands on your knees and rest a second. And for Draymond, for Steph, that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Jimmy gives a little bit of a, baked into the game free throw timeout where these guys can get a breath.
Yes.
It's free points. It's there. And, as Steph pointed out very early on here in this, Jimmy Butler is now married to the Golden State Warriors. They're opposite players, Cyrus. One guy is not looking to play on the perimeter. One guy is not looking for a jump shot. One guy is mercilessly attacking the rim, trying to get to the free throw line.
Yep.
And Curry is the opposite of that. He's mercilessly attacking you from the perimeter. They're both making good decisions with the basketball. When Curry's not turning it over, there's usually a good decision. They fit. And this is the old opposites attract. And I thought that the Warriors' big problem was some redundancy. There's just too many dudes trying to shoot long-distance shots over and over. This is what drove me nuts about Andrew Wiggins. Like, Wiggins, you're not a good enough three-point shooter to be shooting all these three-point shots. Get to the rim. No one is ever going to have to tell Jimmy Butler, hey, man, fewer three-point shots, attack the rim. It's his instinct. That's how he plays.
Yes, sir. And he controls the pace of the game, which is a subtle yet very important aspect of a truly great NBA player. I feel like that's the level, that's the step that Andrew Wiggins never took, is realizing that you do have the talent to be a pace setter in the NBA, but he never took advantage of it. I don't know if he even cared. Who knows what the reasoning, but regardless, Jimmy Butler dictates the pace of an NBA game. He makes you play at his speed. Only a handful of NBA players do that. And the fact that the Warriors now have 2 of those guys, Matt Owen, brother.
Yeah. And again, somebody to focus on other than Steph.
Oh, yeah.
Has a little bit of an easier night. If he doesn't have to work nearly as hard to get his shot off with 5 guys guarding him because only 1 or 2 guys are guarding him, that's a better night for Steph. And Tim Kawakami's got some stats here I want to share with you in just a second. We got SG Sports Talk channel saying, currently subscribe to the both of you guys, your channels. I love showing all my love and support to you too. Let me just tell you, we feel it. Thank you. You are one of our most loyal, have been down with the Plus since the Plus started, guys out there. Cyrus, I'm glad that he's giving you the love that you deserve too.
He also, Damon, he also comes on the show. I saved space for him. That is the great Chardal. When he shows up to the live chat, and especially if I invite guests on the show, which we do once or twice a week on Golden Days, dude, he kills it. He owns it. Like, I just step back and let the man cook. He's brilliant. Chardal,
I love it. Well, dude, the next time I go with like a sports phone Friday and we're taking some video calls, I hope to hear from you.
Yes.
San Bruno Mike, you want to talk about down from day one, motherfuckers? Dude, San Bruno Mike has been the man supporting me. He was at the very first Plus Mania. He's still here today. He's like, I've heard of this concept of free throws.
Yes.
I've never seen it.
Yes.
On a consistent basis. And look, styles make fights. And the fighting style of Steph Curry, nor Klay Thompson, nor Andrew Wiggins, nor Draymond Green, nor Kevon Looney, none of these guys had a style of basketball that got them to the free throw line. Jimmy Butler is like a whirling dervish of contact out there, so he gets it.
Say that again? Well, that was brilliant.
A whirling dervish of contact. Thank you very much. Feel free to go with it. That's yours. I'm giving that to you.
I love it.
This side changes the name of the channel to Golden Dervish. Whirling Golden Dervish. By the way, thanks to everyone for liking, for subscribing. Do it across both channels. I got to give love to my man Ike, who, of course, is just dropping the greatest sandwich in the world on you whenever you go to an Ike's. Hopefully you live around an Ike's. Hopefully there is one right around you or coming to you soon, because it is absolutely delicious. Get yourself to Ike's sandwiches. To our friends at the Dubliner.
Damon, real fast. I want to give Ike's added love because claiming the best sandwich in a region as large as the Bay Area is a bold statement. They don't pay me a penny. I don't have a sandwich named after myself there, yet I will still say they have the best sandwich in the Bay Area, man. Ike's, bravo. It's delicious. And Damon, I can't give you enough love for the fact that, to me, there are 2 distinct honors you can receive on the planet. One is a bobblehead. You get a bobblehead of yourself. You've made it in this world. And the other is a sandwich named after you from Ike's. So, Damon, you're batting. Do you have a bobblehead? So I was going to say you're batting 1,000, but I don't know if you have a bobblehead. You're batting 500. You're still a major leaguer. So bravo. And Ike's is fantastic.
No bobbleheads. I will not be eligible for the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame. I've been thrown out of that circle. So the sandwich is all I got left. The sandwich is it. I got a marriage that works and a sandwich that's available. And that's what I got in my life.
Did you really get thrown out of the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame? Is that a true story?
I'm not on the radio.
That's interesting.
At some point you're ineligible, right? The guy who's not on the radio is probably ineligible for that. I was on the track. How sad is that as like a finish line of accomplishment in your life?
That's like going into the typewriter Hall of Fame. It's not. I think you're gonna sleep okay not being in it. I promise.
Very comfortably, very comfortable sleep. Thanks to Ike's delicious sandwiches. Again, the Dubliner, that needs to be in the San Francisco Great Bar Hall of Fame, the Dubliner West Portal. Absolutely love those guys. And Cyrus, I know that you got some Dr. Rosanelli.
Well, before we get to that, when is you said there was going to be an event coming up at the Dubliner? Did that pass, or is that coming up?
We did a Super Bowl watch party at my friend's bar, the Halfway Club, another outstanding bar. But the Dubliner, we will be back to the Dubliner soon. I absolutely love that place. It's the best Guinness in the city, and I need Guinness in my life.
Well, let me know when, because I'm a man of my word, and I promised you that if the Warriors actually do commit a trade, that I would come to your next event. So when you have that next event at the Dubliner, I will stick to my commitment and I will show up, man, because the Jimmy Butler trade is worthy of a celebratory affair.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, the kids are in school. Jillian's on a business trip in Chicago. We can end this show right now and be at the Dubliner in an hour.
Dude, Guinness for breakfast. Sign me up. It's a fulfilling, nutritious meal. You get your all 4 food groups are in it. Just sign me up. Let's go. I'm all in. I love it. I have some clients as well. Yes. So I want to give some love to Underdog Fantasy. Damon, I've been winning money on this thing. I post my picks on Twitter. If you ever want to win some money with me, use the promo code GSW to get a free pick and up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Got to give some love to Dr. Tom Rosanelli, who is helping gentlemen out there feel good about themselves. If your hair is thinning, if it's falling out, not only can you feel good about yourself with a man who is the doctor in San Francisco in the Bay Area. His client list includes Hall of Fame athletes, broadcasters, artists, you name it. He's a legend. Visit Rosanelli.com. The website again, Rosanelli.com. Do not be a LeBron James of old. Be a LeBron James of new and look and feel good. And last but not least, Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform. The NBA season is in full swing. I know football drives betting. It's sadly over. That's what the NBA can be your fix. Check out Bet Online. The game starts here. Back to the program.
Yeah, and so this guy's been showing up in really weird random shows saying, talk about Justin Tucker like you did Deshaun Watson. Tucker has 10 women accusing him of similar sex crime. If you have ever abused a woman, you can go fuck off. You shouldn't be a professional athlete anymore. Fuck Deshaun Watson. Fuck Justin Tucker if he's guilty of all of this. Also, he's a kicker. I don't care. Also, this is a show about basketball. So, Tom, fuck you. I mean,
well, real quick, just to maybe quell his thirst and make him feel better. Yeah, the Justin Tucker story, it's bizarre. It's it's gross if it's true. Very similar to Deshaun Watson. Huge difference is, like you said, he's a kicker who's also at the end of his career. So my guess is the dude was already missing kicks. He's no longer at the same clip he was. This will be his death knell. You're not going to see him in the NFL after this, likely. And if it's true what he did, he's a scummy human being.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you're a professional athlete who's a millionaire and you're good looking and you still got to con women into jerking you off, you're such a loser. I'd like to think that if I were incredibly rich in the prime of my career and a physical specimen, those jerks would be for free. They'd just be lining up to do it. The fact that you are a multi-millionaire and you're still paying for your pussy is the saddest story to possibly tell about a successful man. I mean,
and there's levels to this too. It's like, be a gentleman. Like my guess is guys like Justin Tucker are going into these situations and they're acting like arrogant pricks where they have expectations. They think they're higher than almighty and the ego is insane. Like, just read the room, be respectful to other people and get a clue if that person's not going along with you. Like, just don't expect things like that from other human beings, man. Just have some boundaries and be respectful. It's crazy what these individuals do to put themselves in these situations. If you were just a decent person, you would not find yourself in these scenarios. So
exactly. Just stop being an absolute scumbag.
Yes.
Play manipulator.
Yes.
It's pretty obvious, but
get a hint.
Yeah.
Get a clue. Yes.
So Justin Tucker should be worried. There's one person who's looking for commentary at all times on Justin Tucker, even on shows that aren't about the Ravens. So there we go. I'm glad we filled that totally random request. Now
there you go.
We move back to the Golden State Warriors again. We move back into the realm of watchable and interesting, and how far along this goes, we don't know. But Tim Kawakami offered this, just saying, in the 2 games prior to Jimmy Butler's arrival, Curry was scoring an average of 34.5 points, but taking 33 shots to get there. In the 2 games with Jimmy, Curry's averaged 36 points on an average of just 21.5 shots. Not only is that more efficient, but it saves gasoline. Steph Curry has to burn more gasoline to get a shot off in a game before Jimmy arrived than he has to burn gasoline to get a shot off now. the two of them have a gravitational pull that helps the other. Butler's pulling guys off the perimeter, and Curry pulls guys out of the lane, and Jimmy can go into it and attack. And that's why it's working. I want to share, Cyrus, this video of Draymond Green talking about what – hold on. Wait a minute. There we go. Let me go over here. Let me press play. Let me be quiet. Here we go. This is Draymond, Baron Davis talking about Jimmy Butler's arrival and just how it's fitting together early because he and Steph complement each other. Here we go.
Like, we got Jimmy Butler. Like, this is no small deal. It's Jimmy Butler. Steph, he looked like he got belief. After the trade, he looked at me and he said, man, it's crazy because it just dawned on me that, like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, this is
the last run.
Last ride. Like, and I said, let's do it.
Let's ride to the wheels fall off.
Like, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
It was an emotional moment. You know, people get caught up in all the stuff that was going on in the Miami last podcast. Remember, I had said, I just don't want Jimmy to end up in the spot where they use that against him. The reason I said that is because it's a guy that I respect as a winner.
Yeah.
I've been victim of people trying to take a winner and tear him down through all these false narratives. And so I've been a victim of that. And as you see, coming out of it, you're seeing exactly the Jimmy Butler that I knew. I feel great, brother. You know, it's been a while since I've gone into basketball games like, oh, yeah, we're going to go just win. Stuff going to get harder. We're going to have to figure stuff out, you know, but I know when it's right.
There you go, Cyrus. You know, I think the kids, it's got a word for it. Vibes. The vibes are now right again. And Steph Curry, Draymond had a reason to be dobbered down. These guys know. You didn't have to tell either Steph or Draymond this shit isn't fitting together anymore. It's not where they know. They try to put on a brave face in every question and press conference and podcast, but they knew they were on a fast track to nowhere. I also think that they know they're not about to be NBA champions because of Jimmy Butler, but they feel good. Look good, feel good, play good is part of that equation, man. I think they feel good about this, and where it goes, I don't know exactly where this goes.
No, well, no one knows. Clearly, no one does. But I'm going to take it a step further, and I do think this team is a legitimate contender. In the Western Conference, we've talked about this, right? Parity has completely taken over, at least I'd say overall in the total NBA, but particularly in the Western Conference, where you look at seedings 2 through 12, and a month from now, it could be flipped. And I don't think people would be blown away by that. It's wide open. The Warriors were in it incredibly with the previous iteration. Warriors 1.0, the version nobody gave a shit about because it was dull, boring basketball that wasn't going anywhere. That version was still a playoff contender, as crazy as it sounds. The Warriors, as currently constructed, with Jimmy Butler now on board, with the trade where a subtle yet huge part of this as well, Dennis Schroeder being off the roster because it's one less little hobbit-sized point guard that Steve Kerr had as a crutch that he's no longer going to, right? So we're not seeing we're not seeing 4-guard lineups. Now we're seeing 3-guard lineups.
Well, look, the guy that they traded for the Dennis Schroeder that they never got.
Yes.
Exactly. So much better before he joined the Warriors, and then he just regressed in every conceivable way, and it didn't work out. What I like is that they got off of it quickly.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there's no point in playing Dennis Schroeder in a singular minute ahead of Podziemski or Moody when he's playing like that. And they were compelled to play Schroeder. Now that's gone.
Absolutely. And we could talk about it now or another show, but I do think the Dennis Schroeder trade was like the final straw for the front office going, all right, Steve, we've tried it your way for 2.5 years. We're going to go back to some common sense and some logic and reasoning with the decisions we make here. The Dennis Schroeder experiment was awful. My point is the Warriors, this new look Warriors team with Jimmy Butler, a superstar now added to the roster. To me, there's only one team in the West that is daunting and unreadable in terms of what the matchup would look like, and that's the Denver Nuggets. As weird as this sounds, the LA Lakers getting Luka Doncic, I think big picture, long-term is a magnificent move for them. This season, the Lakers without AD suddenly makes them beatable in the eyes of the Warriors, right? It's all about matchups. There's one team to me that scares me for the Golden State Warriors, and that's the Denver Nuggets. And we're going to talk about the buyout market in just a second, because I don't know if that's where the answer is. I don't know if the Warriors already have the answer. They have a deep front court. They've got 3 centers that they could throw at Jokic throughout a game to set up Draymond to finish. But I really do believe the Warriors are in the hunt for a 5th championship for Steph, largely not so much because the Warriors themselves are suddenly this all-time great team. No. But in 2025, when you look at the NBA landscape, there's only a handful of teams who are contenders. Who's scaring the Warriors? The Thunder, a team that the Warriors already beat 2 out of 3 times, they almost beat a 3rd time. The Boston Celtics, who they split the season series with. Cleveland is daunting, yes. The Nuggets are daunting, yes. Those are the 2 teams that scare me, but I think the Warriors are in it, man. Your thoughts?
I still haven't seen it with Kuminga yet, so I got to watch that.
Fair.
I got to see if Trace Jackson Davis can't play himself back into a rotation, or if it's going to be like Moody, and good luck with that as far as your front court presence the rest of the way. Can Draymond really give you a half a season and a full playoff run being your primary 5? Because it looks like that could be the direction they're going in. And I just don't know yet.
Yeah.
I think that this Luka Laker thing could be like an instant problem right now. I really do. I've only, again, haven't seen enough of it, but Dalton Connect now coming back because that trade got rescinded. What does that look like with Austin Reeves? We got 3 white boys on the Lakers now. What the fuck? I mean, this is going to get more interesting before I think I know what the Lakers are, and certainly what I know the Warriors are. What I do like about this, though, is that when Jonathan Kuminga comes back, he finally now, Steph, or Cyrus, has a
Thank you. I'll take that mistake. Call me Steph all day, every day, man. Thanks for that. Yeah, good stuff. I like the Freudian slip there.
Cyrus Curry. The short order chef. Make a really good grilled cheese. Seriously, when Jonathan Kuminga looks at who do I want to be on this team, I don't think anyone really wanted to be Andrew Wiggins. Maybe defensively, there were some, noble pursuits there, but offensively, I hate Andrew Wiggins' game. Don't be like that guy.
No.
No one can play like Steph Curry, but Steph Curry. Klay Thompson was the closest thing we've come to it, but it's not available. Maybe Trae Young. You can't play like Draymond, because that's basically being devoid of an offensive game, and a classic offensive game where you're shooting, you're scoring. Draymond obviously is a good offensive player. You just have to interpret what that means more than on other guys. I want Jonathan Kuminga to say, I want to be like Jimmy Butler when I grow up. I want Jonathan Kuminga to look at Jimmy Butler, how he attacks the basket, how he gets to the free throw line, how he keeps pressure on everyone by going to the rim and takes pressure off the perimeter by going somewhere other than the perimeter. I want Jimmy Butler to be the dog that Jonathan Kuminga now puppy dogs the rest of the year. Follow that guy. Be like that guy. And if that brings us a new level of Jonathan Kuminga, who this team now, your deadline is come and gone. You are committed to Jonathan Kuminga. Full stop. Play him 40 minutes. Play him 40 minutes a night.
Yes.
Let's see what you finally got. Kuminga, Butler, Curry, Draymond, player X. Are you going big or
exactly.
going small at that point?
That 5th spot is
is
wide open. Did you see or read, what Anthony Slater wrote? This has been all over the social media circles in case you don't have a subscription to The Athletic.
I do.
Joel Lacob told Anthony Slater that Jonathan Kuminga isn't going anywhere. He loves him. Music to my ears. Because just like you said, with Jimmy Butler on board, Jonathan Kuminga now has a mentor, someone to model his game after that he hasn't had on this roster. And if Jonathan Kuminga can be 3/4 of what Jimmy Butler has become, I'm happy, right? I mean, realistically, it could be much higher than that. But no, you've seen these facial expressions Kuminga has shown while he's still recuperating it, traveling with the team, watching Jimmy Butler on the court, the impact he's having with Steph and vice versa. You could tell he's giddy. He actually went on Twitter for the first time in almost a year. He expressed that he was not going to use the platform like a lot of people. He's so excited he came back to Twitter and said he's itching to get back on the basketball court. I'm 1,000% with you. Like the minutes I've been saying for years that Kuminga should be getting at least 30 plus just to develop and become the player we hope he's going to be. The Warriors have 4/5 of a dynamic lineup. The fifth is a wild card. And I don't know if it's going to be dependent on the night, whether it's Buddy Hield, whether it's Brandon Pajemski, whether it's Moses Moody, whether it's Quentin
I think you got to hot hand that, right? You got to just go with your hot hand.
Unless you find someone in the buyout market. There are some intriguing names there. And I don't know if you're aware of this, Damon, because this was a very subtle news report that dropped. But when Jimmy Butler got traded to the Golden State Warriors, he waived his trade bonus. This is a stipulation in a lot of players' contracts. Anthony Davis had it in his contract as well, that he also waived to help the Mavericks. Again, that Mavericks deal, it's forever going to be just one of those, what have you done, Dallas, man? Like it's insane what's going on there. Although I don't care.
Look at the compensation Utah got for trading Rudy Gobert, and look at the compensation that Dallas got for trading Luka Doncic. The league should not have allowed it to go through. I'm dead serious. The league should not have allowed that trade to go through. It was more lopsided than the, Chris Paul trade that got vetoed famously in New Orleans all those years ago, and the Pau Gasol and blah, 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 blah. And, it is staggeringly inefficient compensation, and that is with a first ballot Hall of Famer being returned in Anthony Davis, who of course got hurt in his first game. He was playing wonderfully in that first game, but of course he got hurt. Then their backup center got hurt. So now instead of having Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, you have Kyrie Irving and no centers, no Anthony Davis. The Mavericks are throwing fans out for saying fuck Nico Harrison.
Crazy.
It is
crazy.
I'm telling you, they're trying to sabotage that franchise. Like this is, I believe, an attempt to relocate. We're seeing the John Fisher model, I think, being played out with the Dallas Mavericks.
Damon, I said first of all, you if anyone's going to talk about that comparison, it should be you, because you've become infamously tied to the Oakland A's for the John Fisher criticism, which I'm 1,000% behind you on. Just a disgrace of a human being, John Fisher. And the moment this Luka trade happened, I've been saying the exact same thing. My read on this was the Mavericks have new ownership in the Adelson family. This is not a group of individuals that are known for altruism, who are known for being thoughtful, compassionate members of their community. These are casino magnates who are very political, who are very egotistical, who are very strong, ardent supporters of the ruling class / working class dynamic in social structures. And they're also very aware they're in the ruling class. So when they see someone in the working class, which is how they view Luka Doncic, as someone who's not conditioning himself, who's not exuding the work ethic that they subjectively believe in their minds should be reality, they don't want to pay the guy $300+ million, and they just shipped his ass out. It was egregious, but that's the Adelson family for you. So if what you're saying is true, which is them using this as an excuse to completely disenfranchise that Dallas base so they can get the hell out of there without any tears being spilled, it would not surprise me if that's the agenda.
The Mavericks are a cudgel that is the means to an end. Here's what new Mavericks ownership wants. They either want to build a casino in Dallas and need the state legislatures to, give them the law and the zoning to do that. And in order to convince all of those state legislatures to do that, they're going to say, if you don't do this, we are going to pull the Mavericks into Las Vegas, who is interested in acquiring an NBA team. And that's what's going to happen. So it's either give us what we want, or we're going to take what you have. That's what's going on.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And it's funny because the owner, who's the son-in-law of the original hierarchy of that family, he's the guy who's basically taking control. And he claims he's a hooper from young age. He also denies that agenda. He addressed it, that the team doesn't want to move. Bullshit, dude. Like, the Dallas Mavericks were an expansion team in 1980, which is a long time ago, but that actually incredibly happened during our lifetimes. So let's not pretend that like they're this, this 5-6 decade long fixture in Dallas. Teams have moved who have been a much less centered in a specific region. It would not surprise me if this was part of the agenda. But the Adelsons, again, they're not someone who's going to pay an NBA player, regardless of his stature as a superstar like Luka Doncic. To them, Luka Doncic is an employee. And if you're not meeting the standards that they expect, and look, let's not pretend and kid ourselves that Luka Doncic is an example of work ethic, is a model for what you want your own kids to do in terms of the amount of work you want to put in to excel at whatever it is you're working at. Luka Doncic smokes cigarettes, he eats cheeseburgers, he drinks beers. I'm not exaggerating. He does not have the best diet.
And the thing is, too, is he's got the third highest scoring average in the NBA and the second highest postseason scoring average behind only Michael Jordan. He is 30, 10, and 10, rolling out of bed with a cigarette, eating a crepe.
Agreed. I'm not pretending for a second if I'm the Mavericks owners, I'm not keeping like that was the dumbest trade imaginable. I'm just trying to give people the perspective of the Adelson family, which is a very hard perspective to understand. I would
have given him a Supermax in a cheeseburger. Yes. Here you go, Luka, with a pack of cigarettes underneath it. There you go.
But to the Adelson family, who, again, there is the difference between rich and wealthy is Luka Doncic and the Adelsons, right? Luka Doncic is rich. The Adelsons are wealthy. And to the Adelsons, they look at Luka Doncic incredibly, as crazy as this may sound, as an employee, as one of their workers. And they looked at a worker who they were going to have to spend $300+ million on, and they were like, no. Hell to the no. We're in control here. This is all about power and control, man. This is all about ego. It's disgusting, dude. Like I feel almost have pity for the Mavericks fans, but screw them at the same time.
No, I got pity for Mavericks fans. That's awful. That's awful. I'm going to, here's a 25-year-old generational talent who is the second best player already in your franchise's history, and we're going to trade him before the checkered flag, even gets to drop. Did I say checkered flag? I meant green flag to start the race. Like you were just in the NBA Finals with this guy.
Yeah.
And you're trading him?
The reigning Western Conference final champion. It's crazy. I'm not defending it. I'm just trying to give people an understanding of these John Fisher type owners, right? Who have exorbitant wealth, yet in their minds, they think they're better than you. It's a crazy mentality to have, and there's this sense of entitlement. So in John Fisher's case, for example, he feels he's entitled to local governments paying for stadiums and ballparks, right? Even though he's filthy rich. It's insane. It's absolutely
it's first team all let them eat cake. That's what we're looking at here. By the way, very good point made here by Andrew Fortune, saying that TJD needs to learn how to shoot if he's going to stay in the NBA. Now, I'm the biggest Trayce Jackson-Davis fan you're going to find on the internet today. You're 100% right. Let me tell you right, here's the thing. Trayce is never going to be a shooter. What he has to do is learn how to finish. Like when we talk about who smokes the most amount of open look layups in the NBA, the correct answer might be Trayce Jackson-Davis. And what I don't understand is he was not this player in college. He was the guy who went up and yammed it down and wasn't looking for the finger roll or the layup or the flourish around the rim. He was attacked. I want him to believe in himself again as the guy who's going to flush this. I don't know why, let me look at the dunk he put on Giannis last year. Do that, or excuse me, Wembanyama. Do that again. Keep doing that. Just quit the soft shit around the rim. Go to the rack like it slapped your mama. That's what I want.
And again, I'm a fan of Trayce Jackson-Davis. I think a part of this, and we've covered this extensively, and I don't think now's the right time to get negative or focus on Steve Kerr so much, but it is worth pointing out. He's not exactly his strong suit is not developing young talent. Okay, like I think that's a fair statement to make. And the way he's handled Trayce Jackson-Davis has not exactly built confidence in him. Has not exactly led him to growing as an individual. Now, with all that said, the Warriors have not in a long time have had depth like this at the center position, meaning in 2023 and 2024, they had Kevon Looney, and I think that was about it, right? Like, I don't remember much beyond him in terms of having backups. The Warriors now have 3 centers on their roster, and Looney, Trayce Jackson-Davis, and Quentin Post, who's incredibly starting games. most nights. I don't know why he didn't start against Milwaukee, but whatever.
Why did it take so long to get to this guy?
And that. My point is, I think long-term Trayce Jackson-Davis is going to be okay. I think the team does look at him as a long-term fixture. And when you're looking at teams like Denver, when you're looking at those few teams in the NBA that do have a lot of size, the Warriors for the first time this year, for the first time in years, have depth at the center position, meaning you can just throw bodies at these guys, even if you have to rack up fouls, which is not ideal, but you don't want other players to feel comfortable out there. Nikola Jokic was getting way too comfortable. Evan Mobley, I don't want him feeling comfortable if the Warriors have to play the Cavaliers. Even a team like Boston with Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis, they were feeling way too comfortable. Now, Trayce Jackson-Davis may see a role in this big picture, and I do think Trayce Jackson-Davis is a cog in a machine that is pursuing a title, man. I know you're not there yet. I see the bigger picture here with the Warriors and Trayce Jackson-Davis. I think he could still serve a vitally important role in this. And for the Trayce Jackson-Davis fans, yourself included, myself included, I think big picture, 2-3 years from now, he is going to be a vitally important piece.
Look, I hope you're right. Every year I've ever watched him play basketball, he's gotten better until this year.
Yeah.
And call it a sophomore slump. The league is hard on young big men. We didn't get a huge sample size of Trayce when he was given more responsibility. Unfortunately, he didn't answer that bell. I think that Steve Kerr does have too quick a hook on his rookies, but yes. I will also, as a Trayce Jackson-Davis aficionado, tell you that he played himself off the court. He did.
That's fair too.
He did a little, and I think he'll get back into the good graces again just by getting more aggressive. And as was said,
send it in, Jerome.
Dunk that shit. Dunk it.
And again, that is the problem with Kerr. He lacks the patience for developing talent. Like Steve Kerr is the coach you want for a stacked veteran team who just needs a leader to put it all together, right? When it comes to young pieces and having the patience to let them write out mistakes, that is not Steve Kerr. Trayce Jackson-Davis needs to stay out there through the mistakes, and you don't see that, and that's why his development has been stunted a little bit, because the patience is not there to let players like him or Kuminga.
And hindsight's always 20/20, right? You look back and you see it all. The right time to have played him was last year and in the first half of this year, when you're playing a whole bunch of this basketball sucks basketball,
yes.
And you're not now married to results. After the Jimmy Butler trade, you are married to your nightly results now. It's time to stack some wins. If you're going to stack wins, now's the time. No more time to experiment. Now you got to know who you are. So I do hope he can work his way back. And since this is a basketball show, let me just say, Tom Izzo is one win away from the most Big Ten conference wins in the history of the conference. He will pass Bob Knight with one more win. Last night, he had an opportunity to do that against Indiana. In Indiana, who is firing Mike Woodson, who has already told him he's not coming back next year, at least put their foot down at the Breslin Center and said, not on our fucking watch. You're going to pass Bobby's. No. Now we're probably going to go on to have a terrible year and not make the NCAA tournament. But there you go. At least we didn't let Izzo pass Bobby against IU. There is no one more comfortable in the world, though, that I would rather see pass Bobby than Izzo.
He's a good dude. He's a good coach.
I'm Izzo guy.
And that's Hoosier pride, ladies and gentlemen, right there.
There it is. If you gotta beat me with someone I respect the shit out of. And I do respect the shit out of Tom Izzo. Okay, back to the NBA. Back to the fact that these miserable Mavericks that we were talking about come in focus for the Golden State Warriors this evening. We got Mavericks hosting the Warriors tonight in Dallas. We got fans getting thrown out if they say the wrong thing on fan cam. You got no Anthony Davis. Their backup center also had a core strain or something. So you are going to have a light in the loafers Mavericks team tonight, back to back that with a frisky, still figuring out what young dogs they are, Houston Rockets team. If the Warriors can really take the Dallas, Houston, the Texas two-step road trip, if they can win back-to-back nights here, Then they got the entire All-Star break, Cyrus. Then they got Jonathan Kuminga, hopefully returning after that. Then they got a game up in Sacramento, and then they're finally going to be back at Chase Center to take to take on a team after, in the last week of February. We still got a while before the Warriors got another home game here.
I know, it's crazy.
These back-to-backs are stupidly, weirdly important games now for the Warriors here. So a really big 48 hours of basketball coming up for Golden State.
Agreed. And this doesn't get mentioned enough. The Warriors have the most back-to-backs on their NBA schedule in the entire NBA.
I do Steph Curry, right?
It's like, what? But how do you justify that? Like I don't understand. I don't know if the Warriors have made their gripes behind the scenes and they just haven't gone public with it, but I don't understand how you're not raising a bigger stink about that. I don't understand how that's fair. Why do the Warriors have to play the most back-to-backs? They're not even the most inconvenient part of the country for traveling purposes. You would think Portland is a more difficult spot, or Minnesota. I don't know. It's crazy to me. It's a grossly unfair disadvantage that the Warriors have to endure. But you're right. Now, another date that's very important. You mentioned the month of February and how the Warriors aren't actually going to be home for a long time. March 1st is the deadline for all waiver transactions to fly for postseason rosters.
Buyout.
And this is where the buyout market, again, the Warriors that I mentioned Jimmy Butler's and the trade buyout, right? He had a clause where he could have gotten a trade bonus, of $300-something thousand. Anthony Davis waived his going to Dallas, and Jimmy Butler did the same for the Warriors, which was a huge a gesture that he didn't have to do, and it gives the Warriors flexibility in terms of those two open roster spots, and then being able to offer.
It was so nice of Jimmy to create a situation where he can be paid $120 million over 2 years. Thank you for your charity work, Jimmy. But no, you're
fair.
Right. Yeah,
what you say is fair, but he didn't have to, right? I mean, it was he could have easily just said no. Like, I'm not going to give him a trade bonus. You deal with the ramifications. And the Warriors could have dealt with that. Like, there was a situation where they could have survived that. They would have just had to offer 10-day contracts, gone above and below the 14 roster minimum, which teams have 28 days of leeway where they can dip below that 14 number. So the Warriors could have made it. It would have been tricky. It would have been difficult. You would have seen Kevin Knox getting 10-day deals, Pat Spencer. With Jimmy Butler doing that subtle yet big gesture, now the Warriors can offer 2 guaranteed deals for the rest of the season. And this is where we can have a conversation about whether those 2 players come from Santa Cruz, they come from the two-way spots, or they come from the buyout market. But the Warriors can be active, Damon. Let me ask you this. Would you prefer them going to the buyout market and finding someone that might solve a big issue, or would you rather just stay in-house and keep the chemistry going? Like, what would be your preference?
Squabble up with Post and Pat Spencer, and that's your
or Kevin Knox. Kevin Knox is a name that seems to be brought up a lot because he's playing very well in Santa Cruz, and he's not eligible for a two-way deal because this is his 6th year in the league. 4 years is the max for two-way players. So we haven't been able to see him in that two-way role, but we can now see him with a guaranteed contract. And Kevin Knox supposedly is playing fantastic basketball in Santa Cruz, former number 9 pick. So would you rather stay in-house, or would you explore the buyout market, or both?
Let's talk buyout market. First of all, let's get excuse me, sommelier, may I see the wine list? I'd love to know what is available by the glass tonight. Let me know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I wish we had some good music for this, but on the menu is a fine collection of samples that we have from all across the world, Mr. Bruce. Not just here in the good US of A. We have a fine French collection. We have a fine collection from the continent of Africa, from the continent of Europe. We might even have some South American flavor in here. Are you ready, sir, to hear some names?
Give it to me.
All right. I'll go 5 at a time. There's a lot of names here, so I'll go 5 at a time.
Don't give me. Let's just go through them one at a time, and I'll just tell you whether or not I'm interested, right, and we'll come back to the ones we're interested in.
Perfect. Mo Bamba.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. It's some size. It's some rebounds. Maybe. Sure.
Defense as well. Bones Highland. Reggie Jackson. Oh, sorry.
Bones is a little bit of a squabbler, but he's fallen out of favor, right? So I don't know. Maybe that was a flash in the pan. Let's keep going.
Reggie Jackson.
Let's keep going.
Josh Richardson.
No. I just feel like to me, I'm just imagining the San Francisco Chronicle headline: Josh Richardson, key piece to Warriors championship. No.
Excuse me. How about Jaden Springer?
So the funny thing is, the guy that I might have been the most interested in, just from a can you get value out of this depreciated asset, was Ben Simmons, but Simmons is already signed on with the Clippers, right?
Correct. I actually, when you see the rest of these names, I'm actually relieved that the Warriors didn't explore that, because here's a new one, and this one's intriguing. Christian Wood.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I got memories of Christian Wood playing well against, bad Warriors centers, and he's not quite that good, but okay. Again, get me someone to play around the rim. I would like that.
Now, these are names that are not available yet, but might be. Marvin Bagley III, former number 2 pick of the Kings.
Yeah, no confidence. It's a full no confidence.
By the way, the Kings, like talk about a story that just repeats itself over and over again, man. Marvin Bagley III. Remember, he got picked before Luka, before
he actually got traded for more than Luka too. So
what are the Kings doing, man? What are the Kings doing? I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They just traded De'Aaron Fox. They traded Tyrese Halliburton. What are you doing? Bojan Bogdanovic.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I think, and it's another shooter. So yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'd be interested.
This is an intriguing one, and I really like this. I don't know if it's realistic or not. Seth Curry.
No.
Okay.
No.
Vasily Micic, if I pronounce that right.
Just from a pronunciation standpoint, that can't happen. No.
All right, I'm going to skip Patty Mills and Monty Morris just because I don't like those names. Cam Reddish.
And I think there's maybe something to still be discovered in that guy, right? Like, I mean, right. He was a real prospect, and it obviously hasn't worked out. Maybe. Yeah, sure. I mean, Cam Reddish has got to be still he can't be 26 years old yet, right?
He's young. I don't know his age. If I can see it right here, I'll tell. Oh yeah. Born 1999. He's 25.
Exactly. So yeah, I would, okay.
Okay. It's possible. And you could develop them. Yeah, you're right. That's an interesting. Now this one is,
but we're talking about a guy who's giving you 3 and 2. I mean, he's not been comfortable anywhere on the court. I just had to look at his numbers. Okay. No on camera.
Here's an ideal Steve Kerr center. PJ
Jesus.
Tucker.
PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker 3 years ago? Sure. PJ Tucker tonight? No.
How crazy is it, by the way, that he signed a $33 million contract and played one of those years and then just sat around and played on his PS5? Congratulations to PJ Tucker for doing nothing for 2 years and making $23 million, 24, whatever it is. DeLon Wright and Cody Zeller. I'll give you. What's up?
He's a John Wall all-star.
Yeah, he is.
Who got paid more to play less than John Wall?
Allen Houston is one of the only other names I could think of. There's a few. Yeah, those guys did.
For a minute there, Allen Houston was officially on team bad motherfucker. Like he was good.
That's
true.
That's
he did. I don't remember the PJ Tucker minute.
Cody Zeller would give you size. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, let's just bring in all Indiana centers. Absolutely. Harris Muye-Zinovich still around. I mean, let's go. Yeah, sure. Any Hoosier, I'm always interested.
All right. And these are the last but not least, but these are some big names. And I don't know if they're going to be available, but it is possible. They're on expiring deals. Chris Boucher of the Raptors, former Warrior.
Oh, you mean like let's put the band back together? Let's undo some bad decisions from regimes past.
That might be my favorite. If he's available, that's a big if. I don't know if Toronto.
Let me see what kind of numbers are we getting out of Chris Boucher right now. Let me take a look. He's 10-4. He's 10-4. Okay, as a buyout guy for somebody who's 6'9", can play in your front court.
He's long.
Yeah. Maybe. Okay. But again, can we go back to Mo Bamba at that point? Like Chris Boucher, Mo Bamba. I think I'd rather have Mo Bamba. Let me look at Mo Bamba's numbers real quick. Mo Bamba's 4-4. Yeah, Boucher's a better player. Fuck it.
Well, Chris Boucher is a better offensive player, no doubt. If you're going to choose between those two, is Malcolm Brogdon? Does that move the needle at all for you?
No, not really. But okay. But is it maybe, again, I got to look up dude's numbers. I don't have Malcolm's.
Fair. This is one of my favorites. This next name, because I think if you sign him,
Brogdon is 13-4.
He's a solid veteran. I just don't think you need another point
he's a guy who's going to come off the bench without ever raising an eyebrow. I could see him being a fit.
This one is one of my favorites. And again, I feel like when we talk about that wild card as the 5th player on the Warriors roster in your closing lineup, he fits that, solves it. He's won teams titles in recent years. Bruce Brown is currently now on the New Orleans Pelicans.
Okay. Again, let me.
And again, don't look at his numbers this year are not gonna impress you, but the intangibles he brings intrigues me. Javonte Green of the Pelicans.
Look at this way: the shooting guard who plays defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Bruce Brown wouldn't be a bad idea at all.
He's got like a pit bull style mentality to his play. Like, he's a tough dude, man. He's great defensively, makes clutch baskets offensively. He's just not a guy you want to give 30 minutes a night to. And I think that's where teams have made mistakes with giving him deals. Javonte Green.
So let me just ask about Bruce Brown. Like, at what point would you rather see Bruce Brown than giving 10 more minutes a night to Podziemski if he starts hitting some threes?
I would still rather have Bruce Brown closing than Podziemski, just at this stage of his career, just because Podziemski, what Bruce Brown would give you defensively is why I would go with Brown. And Bruce can make, he's one of those guys when the pressure is building, he thrives. I don't know if Podziemski's that guy yet. Maybe he is. I don't know. I just haven't seen enough to come to that conclusion. But I think ahead to Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Like, I'm putting myself in those kinds of scenarios, and you desperately need a stop, and you need 2 points. I feel more comfortable with Bruce Brown than I would with Brandon Podziemski, but that's just me. And we're not done with the list. For people asking about other people, like I see
real
Dwight.
Quick to say, oh my God, it's Manny. He says Dwight Howard or McGee. I think this team would go back to JaVale McGee before they gave Dwight Howard a flyer.
Agreed. And Dwight Howard's old. I like, he's been out of the league for so long. I don't think there's realism there, even though I wouldn't hate it, but I just don't think that's plausible at this point. JaVale McGee's another story. I would love that. Would love it. There's going to be one more center I'm going to present to you in just a second, who might even move the needle more than those names. I'll save that for last. Does Javonte Green move the needle for you at all?
Can I every time you're giving me a name now, I want to look up some current numbers before I
all
say
right.
now.
Go for it.
Javonte Green. No, I'm not bringing in a guy who's 5-3 at 6'4".
Sounds good. That is fair. Trey Jones of the Bulls, point guard. You know what? Screw. I'm not into that. Forget it. No. Don't even look that up. Here's the last one. This is the big one, and I think this one, I wouldn't hate it. I would not hate this, Damon. Your thoughts if he becomes available? Currently with the Atlanta Hawks, Larry Nance Jr. High energy guy. I think he would make life a little difficult for Nikola Jokic.
By the way, when you click on Larry Nance, if you go to Larry Nance without the junior, you're like, yeah, sign that guy. Oh my God. No, it's Larry Nance Jr. Okay.
Junior, yeah. He's still good. He's still good.
245, 8-4, shooting 50% from the floor, 44% field goal, 45% from downtown, actually, 70% from the line, 62.6 effective field goal. You can win a dunk contest. This guy,
I think he was in one. Yeah, I don't know if he won. He might have won it. He might have actually won it.
What is that too, right? I think. And anyways, yeah. Yes.
And Jelani in the chat brings up Kelly Olynyk, who I haven't seen him mentioned as a buyout candidate, but he might be. I don't know.
Been down that road. I know the Kerr didn't like the Kelly Olynyk fit, so that ain't gonna happen.
There you go. And the buyout market is very hard to predict. It's I thank Hoop Hypes for doing a lot of this research for me. Or was it Hoop Hypes? There was Hoop Rumors. I apologize. Yeah. So there you go. That's the list. And The point is there are options, and they have until March 1st. Good times in Warriors basketball. Damon, it was a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure it was just a week ago that we were talking about going from Warriors Weekly to Warriors Monthly. And now Warriors Weekly is a firm set part of your schedule, folks. So
we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We will continue the program thanks to Jimmy Butler. Now, look, we were going to continue it anyways, but now we're going to continue it, and you're going to have a compelling reason to tune in other than sharpening your knife of anger to stick it in your own eye because you're sick and tired of watching this basketball team.
Oh, I've been sharpening that knife for years, brother.
Look, I want to give real quick, just a little bit of love to a guy who doesn't get enough. And his name is first name Stephen, last name Curry. Oh. This was before the last 2 games were even played. Look at this, Cyrus. Most points in the history of position of point guard without free throws added in. I show you this just because Steph Curry has scored more points than any point guard ever until you start factoring in free throws. And I only bring that up to tell you this guy in the history of NBA superstardom has had the worst whistle I have ever seen. I know he doesn't have a send me to the free throw 30 times a game level of a game, but the whistle that he gets against him defensively has been atrocious for years. The whistle that isn't blown on him when he is being grabbed, held, his movement impeded all over the court. You can find a foul on Steph Curry on every possession of an NBA game, and not even a remote fraction of them are called. Where would this number be? Where would this number be, Cyrus, if he got to the free throw line a lot?
It's egregious. He had a welt on his head. I think this was after the Bulls game. That was from a play where there was no whistle. Fitz has exhausted this line, but I'm glad he doesn't stop saying it, where there's never been another star player in the NBA, a superstar of his level, who's been treated like this by officials in terms of not getting the superstar whistle. It's absurd.
And I don't know why. I mean, this is an asset that you're looking to protect and get the most out of with a whole bunch of questionable calls.
It's insane. It's insane. It's absurd. It's gross. I hate it. You know, I do feel with every questionable thing in life, right? Like money is usually the agenda. Money corrupts. It's you follow the money to find out what's going on. And, you know, the fact that Steph is an Under Armour guy, I always wonder, I know that's a hard conspiracy line, but I always wonder if that's a huge part of the reason why he doesn't get the favoritism.
The reason why it really doesn't make sense is I agree with you. Sometimes you got to follow the money. Steph Curry going to the free throw line makes more money than it loses. Warriors in more high-profile games, Warriors in deeper playoff rounds benefits the NBA. It's not a detriment to have them playing longer into the year. As a matter of fact, they're the number 1 attraction in the whole fucking sport.
So
you'd think that there'd be a little benefit of the doubt given to this man, but there's not. Now, if we can bring to an end what I love about Steph Curry, I have to talk about the first official what the fuck are you doing miscalculation of Steph Curry's career. How is it that we are getting the NBA All-Star game at Chase Center and Steph Curry's not in a 3-point shooting contest? What in God's name is that choice? Where did it come from? Why is it happening? I don't get it. A man who has made 0 mistakes in terms of public relations in his entire career, I think is making a mistake here. You know, when Barry Bonds didn't participate in the home run derby, I understood that there was a huge element of, you know what, fuck you guys and the steroids and the complaining about everything that I do, and now you want me to hit home runs? Fungal. You get none of them. You complain so much. No one's complaining about why is Steph not participating in the 3-point contest? Explain it to me like I'm a toddler. I don't get it.
Supposedly, everything. I haven't put much thought into this at all. So you're bringing up something that I'm just sitting here listening, intrigued by, because you're right. You make a great point in terms of marketing. My understanding is there was an attempt to have a contest where it was going to be, I think, Steph and Sabrina Ionescu versus Caitlin Clark and Klay Thompson, but Caitlin Clark did not agree to it because I guess she wants to compete first in a WNBA All-Star game, 3-point contest before competing in an NBA one. I look, you're right. It makes no sense. If that story's true, it still doesn't explain why Steph isn't competing. You could make the argument he has nothing left to prove. Maybe he wants to, find as much time as possible to rest during the All-Star break. Who knows? But you're right. He should be in it. I don't understand why he's not.
Steph Curry will shoot more 3-point shots today just in pregame shoot around than will be required to be shot during any 3-point contest. I just don't get it. And I can't believe that, Joe Lacob hasn't leaned over and said, you're making $60 million a year. What are you doing? So I'm going to say this, that the All-Star game is going to be in our backyard next weekend. No, this weekend.
This weekend.
No one gives a shit. The NBA is the All-Star game. I mean, if you gave me a free ticket to the All-Star game, I don't even think I'm going. I wouldn't even go.
I wanted to go.
Damage this league has done to its own brand in its All-Star game. It sucks. It sucks. Again, if players don't care about it, why should I?
My only interest in it was networking. Like, I wanted to get numbers for future guests on a show. That was my only interest in it. I applied too late. And again, this was an NBA production, so the NBA is running this whole thing. Who knows if maybe they made things a little too hectic for Steph, and he backed out of the 3-point deal. I don't know, but the All-Star game is an NBA production. The Warriors are not heavily involved in it. And I'm with you, man. I wouldn't spend money to go to this thing because All-Star games are just that. They're exhibitions. I guess maybe the kids would like it, maybe not. I don't know. I am interested though in this new format. Not so much because I think these 3 teams are going to put any more effort than they previously did, but whoever plays the Rising Stars team, they're gonna have a game. Like, they're going to have a game on their hands. I don't know how that's going to work out in terms of who plays what, like which one of the TNT guys' teams will play the Rising Stars game. But that's one game I want to see because those guys will be forced to play. They don't want to get embarrassed by the Rising Stars, but those Rising Stars are going to put some effort in. So there will be, I think, a moment where we might see some intrigue. But otherwise, you're correct. It's just All-Star games are – they're all of them have become embarrassments, man. None of them are that interesting anymore. Nobody wants to try. Nobody, there's no stakes. Like, maybe that's the problem. Maybe the fact that there are no stakes is the real issue here. But I'm with you.
If you don't care, why should I care?
Exactly.
It's just that simple. It's just that simple. If you guys are going to sleepwalk through 3/4 of the basketball game and maybe give us something to watch in the 4th quarter, and now you got all your different, well, how can we motivate guys to play hard? If you have to ask that question, just cancel the goddamn game. Just give everybody the week off. I really mean. This is OMG. Yeah. It's Manny again coming in says LeBron never did the dunk contest. I don't give a shit. LeBron is not Steph Curry. I don't care. Do you know how much less effort it takes to shoot 3 to win a dunk contest?
You're on fire today, by the way, just so you know.
But dude, a dunk contest is a big deal. You got to come up with something that no one's ever seen before. All Steph Curry has to do is shoot 20 more 3-point shots. That's it. No, 25. What is it? 25 on 5. You got 5 racks, 5 balls each. 5 times 5 is 25. Steph Curry's going to shoot 25 threes before he gets out of bed every morning. This is nothing for him. I don't know. And the other thing, well, maybe he doesn't want to take any, the glow off of Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield in an All-Star game? Why?
Is Buddy competing? Is he one of the guys?
Buddy's one of the shooters. Buddy's going to shoot. The guy who hasn't hit any threes all year long for the Warriors since is in the 3-point contest.
Until Jimmy Butler got here. Have you noticed how much better Buddy Hield looks with Jimmy Butler on this team?
Yeah. When you don't have to guard him anymore, he can hit some threes. Maybe that's why he'll win the 3-point contest. Nobody's going to be guarding him. Maybe Buddy Hield would be better in the 3-point contest if you let Jimmy stand under the bucket and shag balls for him.
Yep.
Anyway, This is also from Chef A. Love you, Chef. Butler trade is what'll bring butts back to the seats. Ex-season ticket holders. I've been to 5 games and I wasn't going to go back, but my butt is going to find a seat again. She's back. Chef A.
Chef A, season ticket holder. Why have you not been going to games booing this team? You should have been going to those games, making your voice heard, Chef A. But with that said, I'm happy you're happy.
Yeah, look, I just can't believe Steph's not taking. I mean, I couldn't believe. Here's the thing: I couldn't believe that Barry Bonds wasn't in the home run contest. But then I would bring myself back to this guy's one of the fully most form-functioning assholes in the history of sports. So of course he's being stingy with what he can give to the people. Steph Curry is the opposite of that. Steph Curry wants to make everybody happy. He's a people pleaser. He is I love you. You love me. There is a reciprocal connection. And the fact that Steph isn't going to go out there and have all of Chase Center rooting so hard for him in the three-point contest. Adam Silver should step in and inject himself into this moment and say, Steph, we're going to kidnap 2 of your kids if you don't get in this Steph point where you don't see Cannon for a year, if you don't get in this 3-point contest. It's insane. It's insane. You can't explain it to me. You can't make it make sense. Even if Steph Curry says, well, my hamstring and shoot him from a fucking chair. Sit down. I watch you do like a soccer routine in your warm up and then shoot a three from behind the backboard 6 tunnels away. Like, dude, come on. This is just fucking around. I can't believe it. To me, it's gross miscalculation. And it is the only element of Steph Curry's entire career that made me say, you are fucking this up.
Oh,
you, Steph, you, Steph Curry, are fucking up the All-Star weekend. You are the reason why this building was built. You are the reason why the All-Star game is back here. And you, the single greatest shooter of all time, aren't going to take place in a shooting contest in the gym that you built.
I'm getting calls, Damon. It's Steph.
Hey,
he says he's going back to sleep. He doesn't care.
Okay. Well, then in that case, why should I? Thanks everyone for watching today. Thanks. Like and subscribe all the way through. Anything left? You got anything left here?
This game tonight is huge.
His
Warriors, Mavericks.
Finger. Steph Curry's got a finger. He's got 9 other fingers. Is the finger on a shooting hand that you're talking about?
Well, it's a thumb. He's had a thumb issue this year. But it's look, yeah. I don't. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. But look, the Warriors Mavericks tonight. That's a good game. I'm very intrigued. I'm particularly fascinated to see the Warriors in Dallas, where I don't even know if home court advantage will exist. I mean, those fans are so pissed
turning
off
on their team in real time.
Yes. So I'm really stoked to watch that. And Anthony Davis will not be playing. Every one of these games matter. The Warriors are currently 10th in the standings. A win tonight will leapfrog them over the Dallas Mavericks in the standings. So there are stakes. The Jimmy Butler experience, sign me up. If this is what it was like to watch Jimi Hendrix, I missed out clearly, but at least we got the basketball version. So I'm all in. I'm excited. I'm happy. Damon, you were on fire today.
Hold on, wait a minute. So you're telling me so Steph Curry isn't so injured. He's playing tonight. I bet you Steph plays a back-to-back tomorrow. Then he's going to have all these days
I got
off.
another call. Hold on. Steph. He just went back to sleep.
He just still doesn't care. Okay. All right. Okay, everybody. Enjoy Buddy Healed in the 3-point contest. In the meantime, thanks to everyone for watching. Cyrus, thank you as always. It's a real pleasure. Thanks to our sponsors. Like and subscribe to both channels if you would. And please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, these 2 sexy bastards are gone.